Hi, I'm Paulie Z, and in this video we are going to learn the intro to Sweet Child O' Mine by Guns N' Roses. Now, before we start, I just want to let you know something very important because a lot of musicians get confused about this. The band tunes down a half step, and that can throw you off. So I want you to understand, in order to play with the record and to follow along with this video, you need to tune your guitar down a half step. Every string needs to be one half step lower. So your E string is technically E flat. So make sure you tune to a tuner and everything is tuned down one half step. Now, that being said, you're still going to play the song as if you were playing in the key of D. All right, so we're going to be in a D position. That's a D position, and then the chords would be D. But just remember, don't get confused. The position is D. It looks like a D, but because you're tuned down, technically it's a D flat. Okay? So I just want you to understand that. All right, enough talk. Let's just play the darn thing. All right, so before we start, a couple other things to talk about real quick. One is the tone. Slash uses a Les Paul. That's what I use as well. So I can match that tone because I have the same pickups that he has, and I can use my rhythm pickup, which is the neck pickup, to get that kind of warm, hollow tone, as opposed to, see how bright and crunchy that is? And that is not what we want. Now, if you don't have a Les Paul, that's fine. Just use your use your neck pickup, and you will get as close to that tone as you can possibly get on your guitar. All right. The other thing to know is picking wise, I'm going to use all downstrokes, and that's what I recommend you using, at least when you're starting out. If you want, you can use alternate picking. He does alternate, but he does his own pattern. It's not just a straight down, up, down, up, down, up. He has his own pattern, and I don't want to get into that because that's a little bit more complicated. It works for him. I would say for you, just do it down, or if you're more comfortable doing alternate, that's fine too. I don't recommend that because it's actually not that easy and not that comfortable to do. So I wouldn't do it. But the other thing is he uses his first, second, and third finger exclusively. You can use your third and pinky if you want. Okay, that's how I used to do it. And then when I saw that he did it the other way, I switched, and now I do it the way he does it, and I'm more comfortable with that. So that's how I'm going to teach it to you. All right, so let's start. Now, the whole intro is based on this pattern that just repeats itself. And once you get the pattern, it's going to be very, very easy. The only thing that changes is the first note of the pattern. So let's learn it. The first finger goes on the 4th string, 12th fret. Then you you put your 3rd finger on the 2nd string, 15th fret. Okay. Then your 2nd finger goes on the 3rd string, 14th fret. And then your 1st finger goes on the 3rd string, 12th fret. Those are your first 4 notes. Okay, again. Now, I'd like to make sure that each note is isolated. We don't want this. We don't want chords. We want... And the way to do that, if you're a beginner, is to release the pressure of the previous note. Once you hit a new note, don't hold that previous note. Release the finger pressure a little bit so that it stops ringing, okay? So the first 4 notes are those, and they are basically 8th notes. The whole intro is just based around an 8th note pattern. So we have 1 and 2 and... Okay? Then you put your 3rd finger on the 1st string, 15th fret. Then you go to the 2nd finger, 3rd string, 14th fret. Then you move to you put your 3rd finger on the 1st string, 14th fret. And then back to the 2nd finger on the 3rd string, 14th fret. So we have... Notice I'm releasing the pressure, so they're isolated notes. So that's the second half of the measure, which would be 3 and 4 and... So from the top, nice and slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, that's the pattern. That's measure 1. Measure 2 is the same exact thing. So just rinse and repeat. So measure 2. Good. So now we did it 2 times. Now we're going to switch the first note is going to be different, and then everything else stays the same. So we're going to start our third measure by putting our second finger on the 4th string 14th fret. That's our new starting note, and then everything else stays the same. And you do that twice. That's measure 3 and 4. Let's put those together just to see how those sound, and then we'll move on. So from the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Switch. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Does that make sense so far? Now, the 5th and 6th measures, same thing, new starting note, which is the first string on the first finger on the 3rd string 12th fret. That's our new starting note, and then everything else is the same. Again. So you notice each time we switch, we do it twice. Okay. So we have the first. Let's go from the beginning and put them all together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Switch. Now switch again. One more time. Good. And then the last 2 measures goes back to the beginning note, the first starting note, which is that 4th string 12th fret. 7. And then measure 8. Okay, so there you go. So you have 8 measures, and those 8 measures, that whole chunk is going to be, I'm going to call that revolution 1. Okay, revolution meaning it goes from the beginning to end, and then we're going to do another revolution, again, exactly the same. This time the bass comes in, does its little melody line, and and then you hear the cymbals and all that. So that's that second revolution. It's exactly the same as the first revolution. Okay, so you're going to have 8 measures, then you're going to have another 8 measures. The thing that sometimes people get confused is when you start that next revolution, it starts on the same starting note that you ended on. So don't get confused, because you're going to be like, wow, I've been playing this note. It sounds like I'm playing it too much. You're not. You're playing the 7th and 8th measure from revolution 1. Then you're going to stay on that note for the 1st and 2nd measure of the next revolution. So it sounds like you're playing it for too long, but you're not. Okay? Then the 3rd revolution is when the band comes in, the full band. You have the beat, you have the bass playing, the riff, and then the rhythm guitar. And on that one, everything is the same, except at the very end, the last 2 measures, instead of going back to that note, it has this little ending thing that goes like this. So let me show you that, and then we'll put it all together. Now we're in the revolution 3. Okay, we got measure 1, measure 2, switch, switch again. Now that was our 6th measure. 7th measure, we start with the first finger on the 1st string 12th fret. Then bring it to then put your 2nd finger on the 3rd string 14th fret. Now this note's kind of like an anchor note in this pattern, so I'm going to refer to it as the anchor note, okay? So then your 3rd finger goes on the 2nd string 15th fret, back to the anchor note. So we have, and then back to the 1st string 12th fret, back to the anchor note, and then up to the 1st string 14th fret, with your 3rd finger, back to the anchor note. Okay? Remember, this is our anchor. So we have 1st string 12th fret, anchor, 2nd string 15th fret, anchor, back to the 1st string 12th fret, anchor, 1st string 14th fret, anchor. And that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and that's the 7th measure. Now the last measure is the same pattern, but we're going to start on the first string 15th fret this time. Back to the anchor. First string 14th fret. Back to the anchor. First string 12th fret. Back to the anchor. And then drop your third finger down on the second string 15th fret. But this time you can leave the previous note ringing so it creates a chord. Okay, so that's the only time you can do it. So that 8th measure would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And I create the chord. Okay, again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right. There you go. So let's try putting the whole thing together and we'll be done. Literally from the very beginning. So that's going to be 8 measures, then another 8 measures, then another 8 measures. That's 24 measures total, okay? So we'll do a nice and kind of slow medium pace and then we'll be finished. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and okay, revolution 2. So as I stayed on that note. Okay, switch. This is where the bass line is doing its melody. Whoops. Now the whole band is about to come in. Revolution 3. Notice I stayed on that D note. Okay, here we go. Almost at the end. Measure 6. This is measure 6 here. Measure 7, ending. There you go. And then you just do it a little faster and you'll be up to speed. Okay? So just remember that it's all 8th notes. Remember that each revolution's got 8 measures to it. And on that third revolution, you have the little ending that's different. All right. There it is. All right, that's all for now. If you like this video, please click like, share it, subscribe, and leave a nice comment. Also, if you click the link below, you can check out more of my free videos as well as a ton of live performance videos and my premium training courses. All right, as always, it's been my pleasure working with you, and I'll see you soon.